Hello, this is Bryan Jones from Sky Magazine giving you coverage of the 2011 Club Championships here in Sarasota. We're at the semifinal game now with Chain Lightning facing off against Ironside. Ironside, the favorite for this game, earlier defeating Chain Lightning in power pools. We have Chain Lightning starting on defense. Robert Runner to pole to the Ironside offense. Winner of this game will go on to face the winner of the Revolver Double Wide Semi. And the pole goes up. Robert Runner with a left-handed backhand down the field. Picked up by Ironside, centered to Rebholz. Marked by Spiva. Looking downfield, Rebholz fakes the huck. Looking for a man underneath, finds Stubbs. Stubbs looking for the continuation now. Moving it over to the right side of the field. Up to Forrester. Looking back for Taylor. Finds him. No mark currently. Swung across to the left side of the field. Stoppage on the play. Play restarts now. Swung to Rebholz. Up to Pryal. Find a cutter just outside the end zone. Quick dish for the score. Ironside goes up 1-0. Good flow there by Ironside. Able to work it up the field with relative ease. Ironside with the pull. Centered by Lance. Vertical stack here for Chain. Swanson with the disc. Puts up a big huck. CK trying to chase it down. Overthrown. Turnover. Ironside disc. Picked up by Brandon Malachek. Moved up to the left side of the field now. Looking back for the dump. Ironside trying to be patient here. First break opportunity of the game. Finding Reinhardt. Of the field to Mahoney. 10 yards to go outside the end zone now. Call on the play. Comes back to Mahoney. Colin Mahoney floats a disc to space. Intercepted by CK. Call on the play. Ironside retains possession. Marked by Tennell. Scuber. Swung. Preserved by Malachek. Break attempt. Turnover. Chain picking up the disc. Moves along the right sideline now. Call on the play. CK will retain the disc. Looking for Swanson. Finds him up the line. Swanson putting a disc out to space. Kieran Thomas with the goal for Chain Lightning to tie it at ones. Robert Runner getting set the pole for Chain. Defensive stalwart for Chain Lightning. Blady backhand comes inbound. Picked up by Ironside. Centered from Taylor to Rebholz. Coming out in horizontal stack. Swung now to Taylor. Finding Stubbs underneath. Moved up the left sideline now. Jim Foster with the disc. Call on the play. Foster looking back. Swung over to Taylor. Looking for Marquette. Can't find him. Dump swing now for Ironside. Vertical stack in the end zone. Back to Rebholz. Looking for the break opportunity. Finds Foster for the goal. Ironside goes up 2-1. Ironside staying patient there. The offense so far running very smoothly. Pull by Ironside. Centered now to Lance. Looking for Lindsley underneath. Lindsay with the grab, putting out the space for Thomas. Thomas going deep. Thomas comes down with a disc. Rusty Ingold-Smith giving chase, just can't quite get to it. Thomas making a nice play off of a Grant Lindsley huck, and we have the game tied at 2s. Jane getting set to pull. Fonforti with the disc. Puts a floaty backhand out to space. Ironside to catch it on the fly. Setting up again in a horizontal stack. Just got to Stubbs. Looking for Marquette deep. Lance giving chase. Defender, looks like Jolene Dahl coming over the top. Can't get a hand on it nonetheless. Turnover. Chain with an early chance to break. Lance rushing up to the line. Nick Lance up to Andrew Hollingsworth. Back to Lance. Finding Dahl underneath. Moved upfield to Swanson. Excuse me. Russell Snow. Up to Will Lockey. Lockey on the sideline. Looking for Lance up the line. Close to the end zone now. For the hammer and the break. Caught in the back of the end zone by Hollingsworth. Chain Lightning with the first break of the game, going up 3-2. Big opportunity there early for Chain to go up and take advantage of an Ironside turnover. Again, we're here in the semifinals of the 2011 Club Championships. Ball goes up for Chain, up to Taylor, center to Rebholz. Matt Rebholz, a Wisconsin Hodag alum. Stubbs with the disc. Back to Rebholz. Swung to Marquette. Finds Pryal underneath. Peter Pryal with the disc. Looking for the backhand, fouled on the mark. Stoppage now. Play restarts. Along to Rebholz. IO break up to Marquette. Just outside the end zone now. Finding Danny Clark. Back to Taylor. Rebholz. Up to Clark for the goal. Ironside ties it at 3s. Chain offensive line out in the field. Dylan Tennell, Asa Wilson, Greg Swanson, Sammy CK. CK picks up the disc, centers to Tennell. Marked by Mahoney. Spread offense here, finds Wilson. Goes up to make the grab. Up to Lindsley. Call on the play. Play restarts. Wilson with the disc. Foul called. To Lance. Lindsay round 4 and to CK. Up to Wilson, who makes the grab, preserving possession. Now to Thomas, moving up the field. Huge layout D by Dan Forrester and Ironside. Ingold-Smith with the disc. Finding Hirschberger. Great D by Kieran Thomas. Foul called in the play. Hirschberger arguing his case. Thomas was able to come around. There was some contact. Observers come in to rule.
One of these semifinals games, and the crowd is definitely showing their disapproval for that foul on John Hirschberger. So let's see what the discussion ensues.
Kieran Thomas stating his case. No foul called on the play. Thomas with the big D. Chain with a chance to hold. Just tapped in. Swanson coming to pick up. Violation called. Grant Lindsley was wide open underneath. Still some discussion here. Now play restarts. Center DeLance. Looking up for Sammy CK. Throws into a D. Rusty Ingold Smith with the D on Grant Lindsley, giving Ironside another chance to break. Picked up and centered. Ingold Smith. Big hook by Mahoney. Wide open Ironside player. Gets a hand on it, bobbles it, comes down with it. Russell Wallach with the big grab there. Out of Kenyon, bobbling the disc in the end zone gives Ironside a big break early in this game. Ironside with a pull. Christian Foster there with the backhand, now centered by Chain Lightning. Swanson over to Chanel. Trying to spread the field here. Finding Lance, calling the play. A little bit of physicality going on. Still a stoppage here on the play. Lance now with the disc. Taps it in. Nick Lance from Georgia Tech. Still 1 year of eligibility in college left. Up to CK, working it up the line to Lindsley. Fakes the huck. Wilson trying to come underneath. Lindsley now puts it up to space. Tennell's there. Mahoney giving chase. Tennell makes the grab, falling backwards. Goal for Chain Lightning to tie this game at 4s. What a grab. Looks like Tennell had a bit of a misread there. Lindsley was throwing up a huck. You gotta like your chances when Dylan Tennell's underneath the disc. Ironside defender's not able to make a play. Runner getting set to pull. Pull out in the field with Dempsey. David Berendez as well for chain defense. Pull goes up. Caught in the fly by Ironside, center to Rebholz, coming out of a side stack here. Rebholz back to Taylor. Finds Foster on the break side. Straight up mark by Chain. Trying to force dump swings by Ironside. Swung over to Marquette. Marking foul. Swung to the middle of the field. Finding Rebholz. Continuation over to Marquette for the goal. Ironside stays patient. Goes up 5-4. Finding Josh Marquette wide open on the continuation throw to the break side, making it look easy. Ironside now getting set to pull.
You gotta imagine that's where the difference maker has to be. Big rip into the wing.
Chain putting out a big hut to space. Too far for Dylan Tennell. That's going to be a turnover. Foul called in the play. Overruled. Malachek with the disc now, marked by Lance. Brandon Malachek, also a Wisconsin alum. Swung over to Rusty Ingold Smith. Back to Wallach. Finding Mahoney underneath. Quick dish to Ingold Smith. Play restarts now with Mahoney getting the disc underneath. Flip back. Finding Mahoney underneath again. Big late addition this year to Ironside. Not able to have him at ECC. Swung down to the middle of the field. Big hug attempt goes up. Mahoney's there, so is Tennell. Mahoney comes down with it. Great grab by Colin Mahoney over Dylan Tennell. Two big men really going at it. Mahoney had good position. Able to come and make the one-handed snag. Boston with a break goes up 6-4 on Chain Lightning, and we have a timeout in the field. Atlanta trying to recuperate. Play restarts now. Ironside pulling. Chain here hoping to hold. 2-point early lead for Ironside. Swanson with a disc now swung over to Lindsley. Looking for Tunnell underneath. Finding Lance. Nick Lance. And a huge element of this offense. Finding now Thomas. Looking for Sammy CK. Call on the play. Marked by John Hirschberger. Over to Nick Lance. Chain trying to be patient here. Looking for the huck opportunities when available. Swanson trying to find Tunnell underneath. Escapes his man. Marked by Reinhardt. Back to Lance. Over to Sammy CK. Just outside the goal line now, looking to punch it in. Great grab by Grant Lindsay just outside the goal end zone. Call on the play. Lindsley having to dive behind him to make the play. Preserving possession here for Atlanta. Play restarts. Lindsley looking for the easy dump. Finds Lance. Puts it back to Lindsley for the goal. 6-5 now. 1-point game. Josh McCarthy, coach for Ironside, giving a pep talk to his offensive line. Jim Foster, George Stubbs, Matt Rebholz, Josh Marquette, Danny Clark, Peter Pryl, Jacob Taylor, the offensive line for Ironside. Ball goes up. Picked up by Taylor. Center to Rebholz. Standard setup for Ironside's offense. Rebholz faking the huck. Finding cutter underneath, Danny Clark. Back to Taylor. Finding Clark once again. Nothing much available upfield at this time. Still dump swing action. Back to Jacob Taylor now.
What?
Play restarts. Finding Rebholz, puts out a huck to space. Giving chase, there is a defender there. Danny Clark with the big catch. Nice huck there from Matt Rebholz. Backhand put out in front. Gives Boston a 7-5 lead. Good patience there shown by Ironside. Able to dump swing until an opportunity shows up. We haven't seen Matt Rebholz really taking chances deep down the field, but Danny Clark, definitely one of the fastest dudes you'll see on the field today. Chain putting out their offensive line. Dylan Tunnell ready to receive. Asa Wilson, Sammy CK, Kieran Thomas, Greg Swanson, Grant Lindsley, and Nick Lance. Backhand pull from Ironside. Swanson back to receive. Catching it on the fly. Centering it to Tunnell. Spread offense here. Tunnell looking for a streaking Lance. Instead finds Thomas underneath. Thomas finds Lindsley. Puts out a big huck to space. Lance trying to run it down. Just too far. Tunnell though with a big grab in the end zone. Confusion here. Up or down disc. Observer rules it down. Turnover. Big break opportunity before half for Ironside. The observers here resetting players. Ironside can capitalize on this. Brings a lot of momentum going into half. An 8-5 lead is a lot bigger than an 8-6 lead, especially when you've just been broken. Players get in position, and now play will restart.
You can go through. You're fine to go through.
Vertical stack for Ironside. Spreading the field now. Looking for the big hawk. Opportunity to break for half. Reinhardt trying to run down the disc. Can he get there? Big layout just out of reach. Seth Reinhardt with a great bit on the disc. Asa Wilson was giving chase. Both of them were close. Reinhardt just a little bit too late. Jane has a chance to hold before half. Swanson walking up to the line. Finding Lindsley. Layout saving grab from Lindsley. Dishes it up to Lance. Finding Thomas up the left sideline. Now looking for Lance back. Call on the play. Tapped in. Lance swings the disc to the right side of the field. Grant Lindsley looking back for Robert Runner. Lindsley punts the disc, puts it to space. No one available. High stall situation there for Lindsley. Stall called on the play. Waiting for the observers' signal. Coming back. Stall is called. Ironside will get the disc. Another chance to break for half. Quickly picking up the disc. Centered now. Swing to the right side of the field. IO break. Great layout grab just outside the end zone. So Christian Foster might have been that one with the grab. Looking for the break to Dan Forrester for the goal. Excuse me, Teddy Brower-Jarris. Teddy Brower-Jarris goes to the break side. Great throw by Ironside to space, giving them the 8-5 halftime lead. Ironside commanding lead coming out of half, 3 points this stage in the game. Coming out on defense though, Chain with a chance to get it right back. Brandon Malachek set the pull. Line drive backhand. Picked up by Chain, centered. Swung around to Lance now. Same offensive line out for Chain Lightning as it has been all game. Finding Tennell underneath. Putting out the space. Lindsley trying to run it down. Asa Wilson also there. Can't make the grab. Goes out of bounds. Ironside's disc. Another chance to break here out of half. Malachek going back. Brandon Malachek. D-line handler for Ironside. Play begins. Malachek looking for options. Finally finding a dump. Cut underneath them. Colin Mahoney. Stays at that position. Play restarts. Finding Ingold Smith underneath. Swung around the field now. Misha Sidorsky. Thrown into a middle of a pack with John Hirschberger having the disc. Foul called in the play. Play restarts. Hirschberger looking for some options. Finds the IO break opportunity to Ingold Smith. Looks for the continuation, but it's not there. I'll break up to Malachek. Another IO break attempt. Ironside really forcing at the break side and up to Hirschberger for the goal, and that's a break out of half. Ironside leads 9-5 now. Four-point lead. Right now, Chain Lightning is reeling a bit, needing their offense to hold. Defense hasn't been able to get out in the field for a while now. Chain set to receive. See Robert Runner. Consistent player, handler for the D-line usually. Centers it up to Lance. Vertical stack. Finding Thomas. Looking back to Swanson. Quick movement up to Tunnell. Shoestring grabbed. Safe possession. Back to Swanson. Swanson loves the huck it. Puts out a disc to space. Mahoney and Tunnell running underneath it. Tunnell able to box out Mahoney and make the grab. Dylan Tunnell able to box out Mahoney deep. Make it a 9-6 game. Ball goes up, Ironside to receive, Taylor back. Centers up to Rebholz. Matt Rebholz being marked forehand. Swings it to Marquette. Josh Marquette with the disc. Looking for a back option, not available. Ironside working it up the field. Trying to find Pryal underneath. Disc right now with Peter Pryal. Julian Dahl. On the mark. Pryal puts up a disc to space. Overthrown. Josh Marquette can't come down with it. Chain defender. Able to get a hand on it. Disc goes up from Runner. Opportunity here for Chain to break. Makes the grab in the end zone. 9-7. Chain with a little bit of a momentum swing here. Giving themselves a chance to get back in this game. Nick Lance playing defense, David Berendez. We also see Peter Dempsey, number 10, Elliot Erickson. Julian Dahl on the field as well. Rebholz now with the disc. Looking for a cut underneath. Now finding Pryal underneath. Looking for an option. Center it, swung around the field. Marquette. Big grab by Jim Foster just outside the end zone for Ironside. You can dish it in for the score. Backhand. Number 6. Jasper Hatsma. Making the grab to go up 10-7 on Atlanta. Boston Ironside with the lead. Teddy Brower Jarvis being set to pull for Ironside. John Hirschberger also out in the line.
What do you want me to do?
Spin pull backhand. Caught in the fly by Nick Lance, center to Swanson. Greg Swanson with the disc. Puts up a huck immediately. Trying to run it down is Lindsley. Big layout. Can't get a hand on it. Grant Lindsley goes up. Mid-level layout. 3 to 4 feet up in the air. Just can't make the catch. Forrester picking up the disc for Ironside. Break opportunity. Extend the lead back to 4. Nothing available. Throws up a hammer. Goldstein, Jacob Goldstein with the disc. IO break over to Brower Jars. Ingold Smith lays out to save possession. Another IO break. Ironside just able to work these breaks up the field with no issue. Great throw and skill on their D-lines. Brower now looking for the dish for the score. Puts it out to space. Finding Goldstein. Over to Mahoney, and there's a big break for Ironside. Up to 11-7 now on Chain Lightning. The 2011 semifinal here in Sarasota. Centered now. Chain Lightning swung over to Nick Lance. Finding Sammy CK underneath. Looking for Lance again. Finding Tennell. Disc thrown a little bit too high. Pops up in the air. Deed by Ironside. Another break opportunity here. Chain Lightning's offense a little dysfunctional. Picked up by Ironside. Finding Mahoney. 10 yards outside the end zone, marked by Thomas. Swung all the way back. Ingold Smith. Wood Forrester pops it up to Malachek, who finds Seth Reinhardt for the goal. 12-7. Big lead now for Boston. Late in the game, 3 points away from a finals berth to face the winner of Double Wide Revolver. Timeout called by Chain. Josh McCarthy, coach of Ironside, giving instructions to his team. Trying to keep up the momentum at this point. Boston's defense here really capitalizing on mistakes made by Chain Lightning. Chain known for being a team that likes to send a disc deep. So far, their offense hasn't been firing on all cylinders, and it's cost them. Ironside just needing to trade out for the rest of this game. Defense comes back on the field. And Hirschberger with the pull. Picked up the dish to Fonforti. A bit of a switch up here for Chain. Looks like the D line's out in the field.
You guys are fine.
Fonforti with the disc. Finding Runner back. Runner, the big lefty. Robert Runner from UVA. Putting the disc deep. Hollingsworth trying to run it down. Deed by Ironside. Malachek coming back to pick up the disc. Another misfire by Chain. Break opportunity here by Ironside. Malachek sending a flick, huck deep. Too low. Hirschberger can't get a good read on it. You have Michael Arison going to pick up the disc.
Number 3.
Swung over to the right side of the field now.
Number 3. Ma'am.
Put a disc out to space. Hollingsworth underneath. Makes the grab. Chain gets back on the board. 12-8. Boston Ironside still leads. Still a 4-point lead for Boston. Chain Lightning throwing out their defensive line. Trying to get a break opportunity. Change of momentum, change of pace. Byron Liu out there, Peter Dempsey, Robert Runner, David Berendez, Julian Dahl. Pull goes up from runner. Center to Rebholz. Wilwaukee on the mark. Wisconsin action. Both Wilwaukee and Matt Rebholz, Wisconsin alums. Now up to George Stubbs. Finding Taylor in the center. Looking for options underneath. Break to Rebholz in the center of the field. Up to Clark. Back to Marquette. Finding Pryal underneath. Back to Rebholz. A little bit of miscommunication there. Simple dump is turned over. Runner picking up the disc. Finding Wooten underneath. Out to Lou. Swung back to Wooten. Call on the play. Coming back to Lou on the right side, marked by Josh Marquette. Byron Lou with the disc. Trying to look underneath. IO flick to Berendez, up to Wilwaukee. Up to Peter Dempsey. Finding a wide open Julian Dahl. Call on the play. Pick situation. Going to come back to Peter Dempsey. 10 yards outside the goal line. Play restarts. Dempsey finds his man, Julian Dahl, outside the end zone. Back to Dempsey, up the line for the goal. Break there for Chain Lightning, bringing it within 3 now. 12-9. Boston still leads. Pull goes up, Jacob Taylor to catch it in the fly. Moved up to Rebholz. Still lunge for it. Still maintains possession. Zone by Chain. Finding Marquette in the middle of the field. Looks like that was broken pretty easily. Prowl with the disc. Back to Marquette. Swung to the right side of the field to Rebholz. Ironside having no issues breaking this zone from Chain. Give and go here with Marquette. Call on the play. Josh Marquette with the disc. 3-man cut for Chain, trying to trap it to the right side of the field. Finding Rebholz. Puts it through the cup to Stubbs. Call on the play. Jesper Hotzma with the disc.
Any idea what the Fury score is over there? No idea? Cool. Oh, Fury. Yeah, Fury.
Back to Rebholz. Hammer over the top, finding Stubbs in the end zone. Boston now just 2 points away from advancing to the finals. Time seems to be running out for Chain Lightning. Gonna need a big comeback here. After the pull, we have Dylan Tennell with a disc on the line. Zoned by Ironside. Poaching off of the handlers. Trying to slow down any chain pull play. Lindsley with the disc. Back to Swanson. Up to Nick Lance. Back to Swanson. Finding Thomas. Back to Tennell. Ironside transitioning into man now. Lance gets the disc. Collision. Forrester on the mark. Forrester with a contact, rather. Play restarts. Lance swings it. Swanson. Back to Lance. To Lindsley. Finding Tennell for the goal. Hold there for Chain. Now only down by 3, 13-10. Taylor goes back to receive for Ironside. This picked up by Matt Rebholz, jogging up to the line. A couple of points away here. Again marked by college teammate Will Lockey. Lockey being very active on the mark. Forcing it underneath to Peter Pryal. Finds the break to space. Intercepted by Chain. Quick movement here right off of the turnover. With the space. Grabbed by Josh Marquette though. Two poached D's. Another big layout by Peter Dempsey on George Stubbs. Action is picked up at this point. Jacob Taylor looking for Hatzma. Finding Marquette. Pick called on the play. Wooten on the mark. Backhand break to Taylor. Finding Pryal. The left side of the field. Call on the play. It's like a pick. Josh Marquette was also in the area. Play restarts. Finding Rebholz. Hatzma. Up to Marquette. Marked by Byron Liu. Stoppage on the play.
Ask them what the score is here. I think I'm off by one. And tell that guy to move.
Marquette looking for options. Looking back now. Forcing it up the line. Rebholz with the disc. Looking to punch it in the end zone. Windish. Can't find Pryal. Turnover. Opportunity for Chain. They go right to it. Wooten going deep. Wooten against Stubbs. Wooten trying to box him out. Makes the grab in the end zone. What a catch. Makes it 13-11. Now Boston leads. Big break. Joel Wooten able to box out George Stubbs. Just get enough on it. Make the grab in the end zone. Chain with a little bit of momentum here. Only down 2. A couple breaks away from making this a game. Defensive line out for Chain, Jolien Daw, Peter Dempsey, Nicky Spiva, Dave Berendez, Elliot Erickson, Nick Lance. Lance playing a lot of points here for Chain Lightning. Inside looking to work it up the field. Up to Foster. Marked backhand by Elliot Erickson. Finding Mahoney underneath. Mahoney getting some time in the offensive line. Finding Clark. Call on the play. Clark with the disc. Being forced to throw upfield. Swung, turnover, Chain, disc once again. Trying to move it quickly. Swanson up to Lance. Lance holstering his forehand huck. Usually loves to throw those. Swung back to Swanson, now to Lance. Call on the play. Up to Erickson. Big bid by Foster. Too late though, and Erickson's able to deliver the flick to Jolien Dahl for the break. Now we have a 1-point game. Boston still leading, but reeling a bit. Chain with all the momentum. Able to force there on that defensive point. Force Danny Clark to throw upfield. Clark having to try for the break. Unable to do so. Ball goes out of bounds. Goldstein will pick up the disc. The confusion where the brick mark is. Ironside trying to switch things up here. Offense hasn't been working. Goldstein trying to look for a Forrester up the line, can't do it. Turnover, Chain's disc once again. Looking to move it quickly. Lance now calling the play, restarts. Finding Dempsey underneath, quick dish. Up to runner, high release backhand over the top, just can't quite get a hand on it. Foul calling the play. Argument going on here. Looks like it's going to stay a turnover. Ironside's disc. Ingold Smith picking it up. Looking for the break. Hunting Brower draws right on the right sideline. Up to Goldstein. Backhand out to space to Ingold Smith. Puts up a low flying hook, intercepted by Wooten. Up to Snow. Dahl with the disc, trying to find Peter Dempsey. Wide open in the back of the end zone to tie it. Nobody around him. Peter Dempsey with the grab. Miscommunication there on D by Ironside, and we have a tie game late in the late stages of the semifinal here. 2011 Sarasota on Bryan Jones for Sky Magazine. Atlanta coming back down 13-9, 12-7 at one point. Can Ironside calm the nerves, do what needs to be done? 13-13, Dylan Tennell with a pole. Inside finding Cutter underneath. Working up the midfield. Swung over to Rebholz. Prowl trying to stretch the field. Back to Taylor. Swung to the right side of the field. Finding Prowl. Prowl now faced with a hard decision, overthrows his receiver, chain disc. Chain with another chance to break here and capitalize the momentum. Spivey with a disc. Pass up to Lou. Call on the play. Pick called. Crowd's now gathering on the sideline. Finding Lance up the line. Lance throwing it up to Tennell. Another break for Chain Lightning, who now leads 14-13. Oh my goodness, Boston had a chance. Put this game away, only 2 points needed for victory at one point. And now we have Chain Lightning with a chance to break for the win. Offensive line out for Ironside. Danny Clark, Josh Marquette, Jacob Taylor, Matt Rebholz, George Stubbs, John Hirschberger, and Peter Prowl. Lance with the pull for Chain. Critical point for Ironside. Need to hold here. Taylor catching it on the fly. Up to Rebholz. Finding Marquette. Still near their own goal line. Finding Rebholz up the line. Puts out a huck to space. Prowl trying to run it down. Makes the grab just outside the end zone.
Excuse me, if you could please not stand there.
And the dish for the score. John Hirschberger with the goal, making it 14-14. Ironside getting the hold they need to calm the nerves. Now we're in a win by 2 situation. Pull goes up. Stopped by Lance. Center to Swanson. Finding Lindsley. Put out the space. Great grab by Sammy CK. Finding Swanson back. Over the top. Bobbled, grabbed by Lance. Quick movement. Now to Lindsley. Finding Lance once again. Stoppage on the play. Nick Lance with the disc. Swing back to Lindsley. Finding Sammy CK underneath. Up to Lindsley. Chain Lightning working it up the field now. Up to Asa Wilson. Greg Swanson. Finding CK on the around. Out of bounds. CK tries to throw it back in. Cannot. Ironside's disc. What a big swing of momentum. Atlanta having a knife at the throat. And now Ironside with a chance to break to go up 15-14 again. Malachek with the disc. Finding Ingold Smith. Mahoney underneath. Now clearing out. Swung to Dan Forrester. Foul call in the play. Contact between Mahoney and Dylan Tennell. Mahoney tripping over Dylan Tennell's leg. Goes back to the thrower, stays with the thrower. Brower draws now, looking for the swing. Mahoney stretching the field deep. Mahoney going up against Tennell. Mahoney just can't get up high enough. Disc floats over. Chain's disc. Both teams here struggling to assert themselves in this tie ball game. Couple of turnovers. Swanson picking it up for Chain. Tapped in by Malachek. Thrown over to Lance. Pick called on the play. Play resumes. Swanson throws up for Lance, who makes the big grab. Call on the play, though. Lance finding CK in the end zone, but be all for naught. Looks like there's a violation on the play. Would have been 15-14. Big call there. Lance with the ridiculous grab over his defender. I think Lance has played a lot of points this game, but nonetheless comes back to Swanson. Play restarts. Goes up to Lance. Looking for Lou. Big D. Looks like Seth Reinhardt. Call on the play. Let's see here. Reinhardt was able to come through. Not too much body contact. Thomas explaining his case to the observers. Foul ruled on the play. Thomas will keep the disc. Again, Seth Reinhardt on the mark. Not sure if there was hand-to-hand contact there. Play restarts. Back to Swanson. Swung to Lance. Finding Wilson. Asa Wilson. Thomas underneath bobbles it. Turnover. That's a huge turnover right there. Aaron Thomas definitely wants that one back. Forrester picking up the disc. Ironside with another chance to break late in the game. Hammer over the top. Quick dish for the score. Teddy Brower draws on the receiving end for the goal. Ironside leads 15-14. Would have been a critical hold there for Chain Lightning. Instead, now we have Ironside with the opportunity to break to win. Back and forth play. George Stubbs with the pull for Ironside. Getting close to universe lines here. Snell with the disc. Finds Lance underneath. Finds his receiver, Nicky Spiva. 10 yards outside the end zone. Overthrown disc. CK able to come down with it and maintain possession. All on the play. Play restarts. CK over to Lindsley. Finding Lance up the line. Looking for the dish to Wilson. Finds him in the right side of the end zone for the score, tying this game at 15s. Nick Lance to Asa Wilson. Calling the play. And it's a goal. Ironside now tied at 15s with a Chain Lightning. Still a win by 2 situation. Hard cap to 17. Chain with the pole. Boston coming out in a side stack. Getting it to Stubbs. Lefty backhand over to Rebholz. Sends it up for Josh Marquette. Looks like there's an injury call on the play while Marquette makes the catch. Chain Lightning defender was injured. Looks like this one will be going back. Rebholz again with the disc now. Centered. That's to the left side of the field. Finding Prowl just outside the end zone. Cutter was open underneath. All in the play. Play restarts. Looking for Taylor back. Call on the play again. Things getting chippy here in the late stages. Call on the play once again. 4th consecutive stoppage. Pryor looking for the IO break. Finding his man just outside the end zone. Marquette finding Rebholz wide open on the break side for the goal. Boston leads 16-15. Now Boston just has to hold in their next offensive possession, and they will advance to the finals of the 2011 Club Championships here in Sarasota. Again, this is Bryan Jones of Sky Magazine. Eddie Brower-Jarvis with the spin pole. Picked up by Swanson. Looking for the huck immediately, marked by Foster. Nick Lance putting up a backhand to space. Sammy CK trying to run it down. 2 defenders in the area. Contact there. Overthrown. Looks like CK's calling a foul. Ironside defender who's coming from the backside. Clearly leans in with his shoulder to make contact with Sammy CK. The ruling on the field is foul ruled. Just Ingold Smith there on the defense making the contact. Chain here now in prime position to hold and send this to Universe Point. CK picking up the disc.
Even with the black guy in the black shirt.
Giving out instructions to his teammates. Tapped in. Flick for the score. All on the play. CK again calling out. End zone offense. Play restarts. Kishing it immediately. Looks like Andrew Hollingsworth with the goal there. Not sure. Could have been Grant Lindsley. Nonetheless, here we are, Universe Point. Dylan Tennell getting set to pole. Laid back in that will fall short. Ironside with good field position to start. The roll does not help Chain Lightning at all. Mahoney trying to stretch the field deep. Finding a cutter underneath for Ironside. Up to Mahoney. Looking for Pryle. Ironside marching up the field, just 1 point away. Finding Clark, just outside the end zone now. Mahoney trying to go to the open side, calls a foul. Stays with Clark.
Just take a couple steps over. Yeah,
just need to be patient here. One pass will do it. Looking to pass repeated Pryle, and there it is. There's the goal. Boston Ironside wins 17-16 over Chain Lightning. What a game. After having a 12-7 lead and then 13-9, Boston is able to calm the nerves. Play consistently when it counts. Chain Lightning with a great comeback. Great opportunity there. The 14s, Ironside with a break to go up 15-14. Ultimately trading out for the win. Ironside will play the winner of Revolver double wide. But this is definitely the game of the tournament, especially in the semifinals. Again, this is Bryan Jones, Sky Magazine. Boston Ironside advances to the finals over Chain Lightning.